Okay, it's not doing that well up there. Look at that. It's probably the worst of all. Look at that drip drop. What's up, everybody? Today we're gonna test some automotive hand cleaners. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna get my hands dirty. We're gonna do a dry test. Get all the grime, the dry grease on my hands here. Test it that way to see how it works. Next, what we'll do, we're gonna do a wet test. We'll get some dirty oil from the engine, rub it on my hands, and see how these products work. Now, the last thing, we're gonna do a mixture of both a wet and dry test. We'll have the dirty oil with stuff from the engine bay, get our hands nice and dirty, and see how well these products can clean my hands. So this is what we got here. We have Cherry Bomb made by Zepp. This is an industrial hand cleaner. Now, we did purchase this on Amazon, and it cost less than 10 bucks. For this 48-ounce bottle, it was $8.97 to be exact, which breaks down to 18 cents per ounce. Now, this is the original Goop, multi-purpose, waterless hand cleaner and stain remover. Now, we got this from Amazon, and this costs $9.36 for this 14-ounce container, and it breaks down to about 67 cents per ounce. Right here, we have the all-natural, heavy-duty hand soap by Grip Cleaner. And we got this from Amazon, and it breaks down to $9.97 for this 8-ounce container, which comes out to $1.25 per ounce. Okay, last but not least, we have the Dawn Professional, made by Procter & Gamble, been around for a long time. This does manual pot and pan detergent, powers through tough commercial kitchen grease, and it's got the lemon scent. Now, we got this from our local grocery store for $5.55, which is 38 ounces, this container, which breaks down to 15 cents per ounce, and this is the least expensive of the products. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rub my hands all over the dirtiest spots I can find. I'm gonna get the engine here, right? The intake manifold here. So yeah, now I'm down on the tire, getting some more dry grime. Let's rub my hands around at the tire, the base, the wheel itself. Let's go in here and touch them. So the first hand cleaner I wanna test is this Cherry Bomb. Now I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze a small amount on my hand and go ahead and apply it to get this dry dirt and grime off. See that? Get it nice. Ooh, it's nice and gritty. Ooh, look, it's already at work there. See that? Let's go ahead and... So I got this. Because as you see, a lot of the dirt does come off. You can see it on the rag. Look at my hand, though. I still have some on here. In all fairness, the instructions do say in the back to rinse with water. I don't have water accessible, which could be a problem for a lot of people in the shop. So me personally, as for now, I'd give this about, let's say, a 6, maybe 7. We'll stay with a 6. We're gonna move on and look at what is called Goop. You can see my hands right here. They're pretty dirty, right? So let's go ahead, and this is what we're gonna be looking at, the Goop right here. Let me go ahead and take the top off. Oh, it's not a twist. That should pull right off. Ooh, no smell. Go ahead and, so you see that? I might have had a little too much here, so let me rub it on my hand. This stuff just feels like lotion. No grit at all. So let's go very consistent. A little grease, a little oily. Now that's the only thing. Oh, it looks like lotion. Look at that. It looks like it's doing a really good job. Now, just an update here. I did go to a sink to rinse my hands to give a better review on this, but I will raise it up to an 8. We'll give it an 8 now. So as you can see, I got some more dry dirt and grime on my hands. And what I'm gonna test them with, or clean them off with, is called the heavy duty hand soap. Now per ounce, this is the most expensive stuff, so I'm hoping this does a really good job. So let's go ahead and squirt a small amount. So it does, so look at that, I'm gonna put feels nice on the hands. Looks like liquid poop though, right? Now go ahead and, ooh, nice and gritty, because I know it's got the pumice in there. Now, ooh, does smell good. Wipe it off with this cloth. Okay, it's not doing that well up there. Look at that. Seems to do the least amount. Look at that. Okay, so effectiveness so far, I'm gonna give this a 4. Yeah, maybe 3, 4. Okay, so I just got my hands dirty again. So right here, we're gonna use famous, probably well-known Dawn that can be purchased anywhere pretty much, and made by Procter & Gamble. I'm gonna go ahead and put a small amount. I'm not gonna tilt my hand because this stuff is liquid. So here we go. So let's go ahead and rinse my hands. Oh yeah, this stuff's not working well at all. Look at that, I still got some grime. To be honest, I would rate this a 3. It's probably the worst of all, but again, it's for pot and pan detergent, so. Okay, so for the next test, we're gonna do a wet test. And now what I have right here, I have some used engine oil. Go ahead and let me show you. As you can see, look at that drip drop. So let's go ahead and get a nice mixture on my hands. A nice oil on my hands. So let's go ahead and get the Zeb working. It does have a push top. Let's go, and just says needs one squeeze. Again, this stuff is gritty. Wipe them down. Okay, this stuff works pretty slick. So it works really well. But again, to get a better thing, I should probably go wash my hands. But there's still grit left on my hands, and it does come off. I'm gonna give this a 7 just because my hands feel a little sticky still. Okay, so the third product, same test. It's the all-natural heavy-duty hand soap. Again, the most expensive of the products. So I put a new coat of used wet engine oil on my hand. So let's go ahead and try this now. It's gonna have to squeeze. It doesn't have a dispenser on the top, which might not be as handy. This has a nice pleasant smell though, too. Okay, well, I was wrong. It is wiping it off. I have one. So yeah, this one does good, but not as well as the other one. Again, and then the price comes into play. The smell it's a very pleasant smell, but it's about getting this off your hands. I'm gonna give it a, let's see again. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one like a 5. So yeah, as you see, I have a nice thick coat of oil on my hands. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this Dawn. I got a little help here with my third arm actually. There we go. So let's go ahead, and of course we're gonna have to definitely use water for this. I'm gonna give this one a 5 as well. But the fact that I have to use a sink definitely with this, there might not be a sink accessible, so I'm gonna say a 5. So in this last test, what I'm gonna focus on, I'm gonna do a mixture of wet and dry. So basically what I'm gonna do is get my hands dirty with dust from the engine bay, dry dust, grease, grime from under the vehicle. After that, I'm gonna put my hands back into that used wet engine oil. That way we have a mixture of both. We have dry grime and we have wet grime that we can get rid of and see which product performs best. So as you can see, I have a mixture. I first applied some dry grease, dry grime, dry dirt on my hands. Then I put some of that wet used engine oil. And as you can see, combining the two made a paste on my hand of oil. So let's go ahead and use the Zeb Cherry Bomb first. Small amount there, see on my hands. Let's go ahead and rub it in. It smells like a nice cherry flavor from a good distance, but again, up close, I really don't like that low odor smell. It's wiping it right off. Look at, it's doing a really good job. So yeah, we'll give it a 6. Okay, again, so I applied some dry dirt, grease and grime to my hands, then went and dipped my hands in some of that used wet engine oil, so we got a mixture of both wet and dry. So we'll go ahead and use the scoop. Again, I gotta put my finger in here because I don't have a spoon. But this stuff looks like feels straight like lotion. This one seems to be doing a better job. It does about the same job as that Zeb's, we'll say, but it doesn't, my hands don't feel as sticky, they feel as smooth. I'm gonna say a 7. We're gonna go on to the third product, the all natural heavy duty hand soap grip clean. Now this is the most expensive stuff again. I always like to bring that up because so far in the last test it doesn't work as well as the others. So let's go ahead and squeeze this. I know it's gonna get it dirty. Okay, it's doing a good job. Yeah, it's making my hands do feel sticky still. I don't know if it's with these things, all the testers with the grit. We're gonna, with price involved, gonna give this a 4. Okay, so for the last test, we're gonna test the well-known Dawn. So we're right here at the sink. So I'm gonna get a good amount, get a good lather. With, where I know its effectiveness is the key, but with price and availability considered, I'm gonna give this one a 6. Okay, so this is the post test. This is where I give my overall opinion of these 4 products that we tested. Now, they're not lined up in any particular order, but I'll start with this, the Zeb Cherry Bomb. Now this is a 48 ounce. You know, dry, I gave it a 6, but it does say to rinse off with your hands. But you know, you might be in a situation where you don't have a faucet, but that's a 6 with the dry. But when you rinse it off, it goes up 1. I give it a 7. That was with the dry grease and grime. Now, when I did apply the wet grease, well, in this case it was oil, I give it a 7. You know, so it did better with wet versus dry. Now, when we did a combination of both of them, wet and dry, I gave it a 6 as well. Because after rinsing it, it still didn't seem to do as good job as just getting the oil. But as a combo, I overall give it a 6.5. Now, it is gritty due to the pumice in there. Some people might not like that, but it is a natural scrubber. Repeated use can possibly dry your hands out. It does have that cherry smell, which smells good from a distance, but up close it is low odor, but it does smell maybe it's some alcohol, even though says there's no alcohol in the ingredients here. Now, the biggest pro, like I mentioned earlier, it's a 48 ounce container, so you do get a bigger bang for your buck. So it breaks down to about 18 cents per ounce. So for that price, that's a good deal, and you can get it off Amazon. I don't know any local stores. I don't know if Harbor Freight has it, but you can get it off Amazon. So that is the Zeb. So overall, it works out to 6.5. The next one, we have Grip Clean here. This was the most expensive stuff. So when you think of things being most expensive, you probably think they should work the best. Now, right off the bat, when I did the dry rub, I gave it a 4. It didn't do that well of a job. After rinsing, I gave it a 5. Now with wet, it did better. I gave it a 5. It came off, it was decent. Now the combination of dry and wet, it did the same as just being dried. And with no rinse, it was only a 4. So overall, I give it a 4.5. Using a lot could possibly damage your skin, and it is super expensive for the amount you get. But the biggest pro, it does smell nice. It does have a lime smell, but that's a Grip Clean. But again, for the price, definitely get this one over this. The next one I want to talk about is Goop. Now, this one is my favorite one, and there's a lot of reasons why. So, for the dry tests, once I applied this, it came off pretty good right away. So I gave it an 8, and that was after a rinse, actually. Wet as well, I gave it an 8 because when I dipped my hands in oil and just rubbed and then put some of this Goop on my hands, rubbed it around, it got rid of that oil pretty quickly. And then when I combine both of them, when I have a dry mixture of grease with a wet oil, it came out to about a 7. I don't know if combining the two made it rougher for it to get out, but it wasn't as good as the wet combo. But overall, I give this an 8. Now, it's very smooth texture, more effective than the other two I've tested with the pumice. This actually feels like, it looks like sour cream almost, or curdling cottage cheese, but it feels like lotion in your hand. It feels really nice. It doesn't have a smell. It actually takes the smell away. If it does have a smell to someone, it's like a low odor. I can't really distinguish what the smell is, but it's not bad or it's not pleasant, but it neutralizes whatever odors are there. It is smooth on the skin, like I said, and the price is a little balanced. It's about 10 bucks for 14 ounces. So this one, better bang for your buck. But again, this, in my opinion, will dry out your skin more. This feels a lot better. I wish it came with like some kind of spoon or some dispenser to make it easier, because when your hands are full of dirt and grime, it just gets everything else dirty. Other than that, I mean, it breaks down to about 16 cents per ounce. But so far, when I compare this one with these three, this one's my number 1 so far. This would be number 2, and this one's last. Now, the last but not least is Dawn. Now, everyone's probably more familiar with this than the other 3. So what we did is I did a dry rub again, had some grease and grime. It didn't do too well after the rinse, only a 4. With the wet oil, it did better after rinse. I gave it a 5. But when I combined the two, it was actually worse than the dry and the wet alone. It was a 6. I don't know if obviously the combination together made it rougher to get out. So overall, I give it a 5. It's going to go like this. Now we have it in the correct order. This one from my left to right is the worst. This would be my number 1, 2, 3, and 4. But let's get back to the Dawn. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. You definitely need water though. That's the thing, is if you don't have a faucet around, if you're in a shop, that might not be that handy. You definitely need to rinse it with water. It is very cost effective though, probably the most cost effective of all of them, but I don't like it that much. It does smell pleasant. But again, if you don't have any other choice, you know, I'd rather get this over this. So based on my rating, like I've kind of mentioned here, the Goop performed the best in my opinion. Great texture, no scent, and it's available on Amazon and in most retailers as well. Runner-up would be this Cherry Bomb. You know, it does clean your hands very well. The smell does override the odors to a certain extent, but price, bang for buck, you get a lot for this. It does work really well if you don't have a faucet around. Now, my least favorite is this, the infused heavy-duty hand soap. Now that thing, you don't get a bang for your buck. That's the most expensive. It may be a little more effective on the hands than the Dawn. For price and availability, I'd rather go with the Dawn over this. So again, I rate, in my opinion, this one is the one that doesn't feel worth its effectiveness. You're not getting it for that smell, right? You're getting it for the effectiveness first. but try them all for yourself. These are my findings and hope this information was helpful. And we'll see you next time. Peace.